Coming up tonight on the News at 5. President Donald Trump is headed back to the White House. More on his current condition and stay at Walter Reed. Plus, the Yogo fire has burned close to 3,000 acres and is threatening surrounding businesses. We hear from Showdown on their concerns.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the News at 5. I'm Andy Curtis. Thanks for joining us. As of today, no Montana county remains untouched by COVID-19. This morning, the state reported that Petroleum County recorded its first case of the virus. Now, all 56 Montana counties have had at least one case. Montana is also approaching 5,000 active cases, and additional deaths have pushed the state total to just shy of 200 people. Around two-thirds of all Montana's cases, are considered recovered. And President Donald Trump has been discharged from Walter Reed Medical Center. The president walked out of the hospital just minutes ago. He was driven to a waiting helicopter and flown back to the White House. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Bethesda, Maryland.
3 days after being admitted to the Walter Reed Medical Center with COVID-19, President Trump announced to the world he was headed back to the White House to continue his treatment, adding, "Don't be afraid of COVID." That despite furious debate about whether he's well enough to leave.
Though he may not entirely be out of the woods yet, the team and I agree that all our evaluations, and most importantly, his clinical status, support the president's safe return home.
Doctors saying he continues to improve after a delayed acknowledgement that his oxygen levels had dropped twice in recent days and that he's now taking a steroid, typically only recommended for seriously ill patients in the hospital.
They may be thinking that they can turn the White House into a bit of a hospital for him. But if he needs intensive care unit, he's going to have to go someplace with a great team. It's a very, very serious disease.
At the same time, questions remain about the scope of the outbreak inside the White House. Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany and two top assistants today joining the list of several high-level staffers testing positive. President Trump raised concerns about exposing even more of the people around him after yesterday's drive-by, thanking supporters outside Walter Reed. Secret Service agents were in the SUV with him, drawing criticism from one of the hospital's emergency physicians.
This was a dangerous move. There is no medical benefit for this to have taken place.
The White House saying the agents were protected and the medical team cleared the move. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Another warm and dry day across most of the state. To tell us more about that, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Unusually warm, unusually dry here through the weekend and into this Monday. Good Monday afternoon, everybody. I'm sure a lot of you saw this either on social media or actually with your own eyes. This is a picture of the Yogo fire. Don't want to steal Andy's thunder, but he'll have a little more information on that coming up here. But wildfires continue here, and that Yogo fire is an indicator that it still is extremely dry here in Montana. We do have very high fire danger. What we need is a good storm. What we have coming, maybe towards the weekend, is a decent amount of rain and possibly some mountain snow. But until then, wildfire worries should continue for all of us here. Time is running out on the sunny, warm days, though, because we've got below average autumn weather headed our way. I'll have more coming up in the forecast.
And Curtis just showed you a picture of the fire burning in the Little Belts, and it has grown to more than 2,800 acres in size. The Yogo fire is burning about 10 miles east of Nyhart, and according to the Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest, the fire broke out on Saturday about a mile and a half south of Yogo Peak and has since spread nearly 5 miles to the east. Crews have been using helicopters, air tankers, and ground crews to help slow its spread, but efforts were hampered by winds. People in the Yogo Creek drainage have been evacuated and the area has been closed. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. And as of this afternoon, the fire was just about 8 miles away from Showdown Ski Resort. MTN's Coulter Onstad tells us what people are doing knowing a large fire is burning in the area.
Standing on the deck at Showdown Ski Resort Monday, you wouldn't know there's a massive wildfire burning just a few miles away, but it's definitely on the minds of resort staff.
We can sometimes see some big smoke plumes coming up.
Marketing Director Avery Patrick isn't panicking, though.
The local Forest Service office and Fish and Game offices have been great with communicating with us as to what's going on.
Luckily, as of Monday afternoon, the wind was blowing the fire away from the resort, and over the summer, logging was done, reducing the amount of fuel for a fire.
The Forest Service will let us know if it's time to evacuate, and we do have a fire procedure in place that our staff is aware of, and the biggest thing is keeping our people safe.
A few miles down the road, the manager of the Nyhart Inn convenience store is also keeping a close eye on the fire.
We are concerned because it could change direction any minute.
A packet of information about the fire provided by the Forest Service helps ease the concern a little.
Have you guys thought about, how you would evacuate?
No. I don't have anywhere to go. I guess I'd be getting a hotel.
In the meantime,
and I don't read the receipt.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's business as usual in the small mountain town. In Nyhart, Colter Anstad, MTN News.
Showdown's marketing director says any impact on the ski season will depend on how the fire develops. And deadly wildfires in California have now scorched more than 4 million acres, making it the most land burned in a single year. California fire officials said the state hit the record-breaking milestone on Sunday. The 4 million acre equates to more than 6,000 miles, or land larger than the state of Connecticut. Most of that damage has occurred since mid-August, when 5 of the 6 largest fires in the state's history erupted. Lightning strikes caused some of the fires, which have burned hundreds of homes and killed 31 people. There are still about 2 months remaining in fire season. Nearly 17,000 firefighters are still trying to contain about 24 fires across the state. With ballots set to go out to many Montana voters this week, the campaign over marijuana legalization in the state is continuing to heat up. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports on new groups that are getting involved and on the money that is being spent.
In Helena Monday, several conservation organizations gathered to throw their support behind a proposal to legalize recreational marijuana in Montana. They pointed to the revenues it could raise for public lands.
Funding our public lands owned by the state of Montana. Places like this, these are the treasures of the treasure state. These votes are votes for those public lands.
Representatives from Montana conservation voters, the Montana Wildlife Federation, Wild Montana Action Fund, and the Trust for Public Land backed Initiative 190 and Constitutional Initiative 118 during an event at Spring Meadow Lake. I-190 would set up a regulated marijuana system, including a 20% tax on sales. CI-118 would let the state limit sales to those 21 and older. The measures would set aside nearly half of the marijuana tax revenue for public lands programs, primarily for improving wildlife habitat, but also for things like state parks and trails. Overall, a state analysis estimates Fish, Wildlife, and Parks could receive $19 million a year by 2025. Aaron Murphy of Montana Conservation Voters said the country is moving towards a more accepting view of marijuana.
So we see this as an opportunity that's coming our way no matter what. So we'd rather get ahead of it and make sure that our public lands get the funding from that they deserve.
Leaders with Wrong for Montana, a committee opposing the legalization effort, say they believe there would be negative impacts to making marijuana more available that wouldn't justify the extra revenue.
I don't see why we want to get an extra $25 million in our state coffers by addicting 110,000 Montanans to marijuana. That sounds crazy to me.
According to recently filed financial documents, New Approach Montana, the group behind the legalization initiatives, raised another $1.8 million in the last month. Much of that funding came from a national group called the North Fund, which has given nearly $5 million to the effort. Wrong for Montana filed finance documents for its first month. It brought in just over $78,000, including from groups like the Montana Family Foundation and Montana Contractors Association. It has spent much of that on billboards and digital ads. And Montanans can expect to see more about these initiatives in the coming weeks. New Approach Montana has already spent several $1 million reserving TV ad time for the month of October. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Ballots are set to be mailed to voters in most Montana counties on Friday. And the United Way in Helena is collecting items to fill backpacks for the homeless. Items needed include backpacks, shoes, non-perishable food, and anything else to help the homeless for the incoming winter season, according to the United Way. Collection boxes can be found at Walgreens, CVS, Capital Sports, and the United Way offices on Lyndale Avenue. And when we come back, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebenitz will have a complete check of your forecast. And later, the coronavirus pandemic has wreaked havoc on the housing market. After the break, we'll see what realtors can expect next.
Meteorologist Curtis Grebenitz.
Welcome back, everybody. Good Monday afternoon to you all. A pretty day out there today, although even though we've got nice sunshine and warm temperatures, that wind is all making for some high fire danger. Great color, though, popping everywhere. It seems like our very dry late summer and early fall is revealing the colors a little later than previous years. 77 degrees in Helena, close to record highs here today, and that will continue a couple of times here this week. Great Falls 76, southwest winds 16 miles per hour, so it's warm, it's windy, humidity is low. Record high of 84 back in 1897, and temperatures well above average by about 10 to 15 degrees here across the state. The wind also, again, this is sustained winds here. Look at Cup Bang, that's a windy day. Again, a fire could take off like that if it were to start. Just look at what happened with the Yogo fire there into the Little Belt Mountains here over the weekend. But tonight, tomorrow, more in the way of wind. The good news is the wind will die down as we get into later Tuesday, and we should have a break in the wind here coming up on Wednesday. It actually rains in Montana. We had a couple of showers move through the eastern part of the state earlier this morning here, but that was with a minor little front that went through. But here's some of the latest statistics on the Yogo fire. Almost 3,000 acres, 0% containment. An estimated containment is for November 15th. It's probably a consideration of when moisture and snow will likely move in. Hopefully we get a little earlier containment on that. And 65 personnel working that fire. A lot of closures in the area. I know it's a popular area for four-wheeling and riders and just doing some fun stuff in the woods, but stay away from that area here because I need to kind of stay safe and keep it open for the firefighters to have that access. But look how quiet a lot of the country is. The smoke, you can see that here from that Yogo fire, likely emitting some smoke tonight and tomorrow. But most of the wildfire smoke from western states such as California, Nevada, and Oregon that had been blowing into Montana pushed down to the south here. But look at this, by the time we get into Thursday, some of the smoke could return back up into the state. So we may have a little hazy skies for Thursday and possibly even into Friday and Saturday. But some big changes potentially here for this weekend. Tomorrow, windy day, high fire danger. Please be careful. Not as much wind on Wednesday, but equally as dry. The fire danger is going to stay high until we see significant precipitation come in. That's a beautiful thing, looking at rain into Northern California, where a lot of our smoke has been coming from. And then how about this? Late Saturday, rain moving in, rain parts of the state here through Saturday night into Sunday morning, and maybe even some mountain snow. Tonight, it's windy and fairly warm here. We should be down in the 30s for lows. We're in the 40s and the 50s here for most of the state tonight. And here's the forecast for tomorrow. Again, this looks great, right? Sunshine and temperatures in the upper 70s and the lower 80s. But that fire danger will be high because the wind will be gusty, similar to today out there. So please, once again, be careful to not create any sparks as a fire could take off. But over the next 4 days, high fire danger until we get some moisture and cooler temperatures coming in, likely late Saturday night into Sunday morning. I know a lot of people probably planning on heading up into the mountains this weekend. Certainly much colder by Saturday night and Sunday in the mountains with snow flying, and hopefully we get some rain around Great Falls and out into central Montana. The Little Belt Mountains likely will see rain and snow coming up this weekend.
Well, the pandemic continues to impact the housing market. Ashley Sampson is getting some perspective on what realtors are watching closely for the rest of 2020.
The housing market in 2020.
I've seen all sorts of crazy.
A year where pretty much nothing is going as planned.
It's very exciting.
Your island is going in here.
First-time homebuyer Alex Size decided this was the time to pull the trigger and leave apartment life behind.
I was renting and yeah, it was time to, I didn't want to rent anymore.
So we've got the electrical, the HVAC system, the plumbing.
Today he's looking at houses with his real estate agent, Amy Asher.
How this is all taking shape.
Asher says when COVID hit in March, the market screeched to a halt.
We were all nervous because you don't know what to expect.
According to the National Association of Realtors, 85% of realtors saw a noticeable decline in sales in the spring. But now,
once we got the green light to kind of move about and to practice business regularly, man, everyone just jumped.
For most of the country, COVID-19 means homeschool for the kids and stressed out parents trying to work from home too.
I've had a lot of past clients call me and say, we're all of a sudden realizing that the walls are coming in on our home.
It has LED lights, so it's gonna glow
As
up.
for Alex, the upswing after lockdown means finding the perfect bachelor pad.
It almost kind of helped me because it did bring like the prices lower, and especially the interest rates dropped. So it was kind of an opportunity that I took advantage of. It was a no-brainer.
For now, the roller coaster ride that is 2020 will continue.
If we don't level out a little bit, I think we could be heading towards a bubble burst.
In Bluffdale, Utah, I'm Ashley Sampson reporting.
Coming up next on the News at 5, a tradition for many families has moved locations, where you can now find this corn maze in Craig.
News Leader. You're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back, everybody. One corn maze and pumpkin patch in Craig has reopened in a new location this year. MTN's Kaylee Neitzel has more on this spooky and socially distant way to celebrate the season.
The Apple Stem Corn Maze and Pumpkin Patch is back this October with a new home and new procedures for a healthy Halloween celebration. Now located in Craig, the halfway point between Great Falls and Helena, the Apple Stem Corn Maze is celebrating their 15th season with a Wizard of Oz theme, There's No Place Like Home. A phrase that couldn't mean more to owner Scott Blackman, who moved the maze and pumpkin patch to his home in Craig.
And so we thought if we can do something that is fun and lasting memories, that's what we wanted to do. So we started it. People thought I was nuts, and sometimes they still think I'm nuts. But like say now we're growing. This is home for us. I've lived here all my life. So we decided to move here, and we're going to expand.
Stretching across 10 acres, Apple Stem has 2 mazes for the advanced wanderer that can each take up to an hour to make it through. After you escape the mazes, visitors can sort through Apple Stem's huge assortment of gourds in their pumpkin patch. All locally grown, the Apple Stem Pumpkin Patch offers pumpkins you can't find just anywhere.
Our pumpkins are all grown here in Montana. Usually 3 different Hoodwright colonies. Right now I've only gotten from one from north of Chester. Has delivered to us. I'll be working with the others.
Other activities visitors can enjoy includes taking a ride on the grain train or the cow train, visiting the farm animals, taking a slide down the tube slide, and lots of other fun games like duck races, hay jumps, and human foosball. The Corn Maze and Pumpkin Patch will be open Friday nights from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., and Sundays from 1 to 6 p.m. as weather permits.
So from ages 2 to 92, there's something sure to amaze you at the Apple Stem Corn Maze and Pumpkin Patch. In Craig, I'm Kaylee Neitzel, MTN News.
The Apple Stem Corn Maze and Pumpkin Patch will be open every weekend from now until November 1st. And we'll be right back after this.
When we're joined by our viewers in the West, Nightly News coming to you from Miami, where I'll be moderating tonight's town hall meeting with former Vice President Joe Biden. We're now 29 days left before the election. President Trump making news today by planning to spend this night in the White House. We'll tell you why his doctors think that's a good idea when we see you on Nightly News.
News Leader. You're watching MTN News at 5.
If you missed any of tonight's newscast, you can rewatch any of the stories on your favorite streaming device and watch live streaming news and features all day long. Just be sure to download the KTVH app today on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, or Android TV. And thanks for making us a part of your evening. We'll see you back here at 6.